you ever flown in an airplane before? It reminds me a lot of times when we're lifting off on how we're supposed to live as Christians. It's interesting that today's Bible verse, we were talking about it today in our Bible studies this morning with my crew before they went out. The daily Bible verse in your Bible app, sometimes we'll go off of that, but it was Ephesians 2, 8 through 9. And it says, "For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast." The reason why that passage made me think of flying is because God in the Old Testament He lays out a lot of laws. There's the law of God, and we think about some of the things here on earth. There are certain physical laws that we have to abide by too, like the law of gravity. So whenever you're flying in a plane, it seems like whenever there's that time of takeoff, you have that law of gravity that keeps you stuck to the earth. Now there's a certain point where you have enough speed and enough lift due to the wings that the law of lift comes into play. And if you don't allow the lift to take you up into the air, well, the law of gravity could actually tear the plane completely apart. Physics, go figure. So, but that kind of ties into how we're supposed to live as Christians. God laid down the laws, the 10 Commandments, and these certain laws that we were given to abide by. But then He also gave us grace through Jesus Christ. Now, as a Christian, can we be like, oh, well, I'm saved by grace. I can live however I want to, Monday through Friday, Saturday, and then, even though I might smell like the nearest bar on Sunday morning, hey, it's okay. I don't know if that's really how that's supposed to work. Matter of fact, I know it's not how it's supposed to work. Do we all fall short of the grace of God? Yes. Not everyone's perfect. The only person I know who's perfect was Jesus, right? So, but when God gave us the laws and then gave us that lift of Jesus, right? That doesn't mean that the law still doesn't exist. There's still the law of gravity there that we have to pay attention to, So even though you have that grace and that lift and that Jesus, and you know that you're saved and God's going to forgive you if you ask for His forgiveness, right? You still have the laws of the gravity, which means there's certain things that you have to abide by, and you just can't do whatever you want to throughout the week, and then on Sunday morning think that grace has become upon me and everything's wonderful. So I think the best part of this is on a daily, today, probably think about, hey, how am I living my life? Am I living with just that thought of, well, I'm saved by grace, or are you living to the responsibilities that God's given you by abiding His laws? And God has laws, man has laws, but there's also a grace. But you can't just live on grace alone, and that's why I think it says something about that way, this gift was through God, and that way you can't boast about it. So I think what that means a lot of times is we just can't just go boasting about how, well, we're saved by grace, so I could do whatever I choose, which is not the fact or the case, because God gave you some laws. So give that some thought today. I know it's pretty easy concept. So hopefully it brings some thought to you and maybe something that maybe you could share with someone else. But other than that, that's what we had today. It was all about, the grace of God and still abiding by his law at the same time. So go out there and share it with somebody. Bring them to God. That's what God asks for. Love him with all your heart and body, spirit, mind, soul, and bring a friend. So love you. Bye.